Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the transit South Node conjunct one's natal Mars. The first thing off is, well, as far as the South Node goes, when the South Node is involved in a transit, it can reflect what we're going away from. And since we're talking about the transit conjoining one's natal Mars, it could be some cases it could be a contentious situation. It could be a combative, sometimes even physical situation one may have been enduring. Say if this is in Leo, it could be a bullying situation, especially if the person is in school still. It could be in Aquarius. It could be some kind of cyberbullying. Now, if you look at this as well, it could be a battle that a person is trying to get away from. And remember that when you're talking about the South Node, it also can be reflect something detrimental in transit in connection with the planet it's contacting. So it could be something too where maybe in some cases it could be going back to an argument or resuming some battle that seemed to have some kind of pause on it momentarily. Also, there might be some issues or trying to get away from some sexual situation. If it's in Scorpio, it could be some sexual fixation or obsession. The vitality and energy level might be limited at this time when this does take place, because remember, this is going away from, this is about uh, really, South Node is really, it can be manifest in what's less. The North Node can be about what really it could be more. It's going toward that energy, and this is energy that we're trying to really get away from. Mars could also be associated with physical issues and debilitations. So if this is something, say, like in Capricorn, it could be something like with the knees or the bones, the joints, the hamstrings, that maybe an issue might be coming to an end. And this is also, remember that Mars is also acrimonious, it's angry energy. This can be connected with anger. And if you have some, there's anger issues going on, or if you have some kind of resentment or animosity toward a person, this is the time where you may let it go. I mean, say if this is in the 12th house, it could be some situation that maybe was somebody in your private life or a person that was prohibiting you from doing things privately, or they were getting in your personal business or something, and you wanted to keep it. You didn't want certain things disclosed. It could be something like that, where you're trying to let the anger go as far as that goes, but also get away and extricate yourself from that situation with that person. Now, Mars can also be associated with the face and the head and the skull. This could be, a time where, I mean, remember that Mars, when you're talking about transits of the South Node, they can be detrimental. They can impact that planet it's hitting in a detrimental manner. So it could be some issues with the face, or a cut or a scar, or some injury to the head or the skull this time. It could also be going away from issues with the face and the head and the skull. If there's like a scar on the face, it could be like maybe a removal of that, if that's possible at this time, or it might be a time when it's actually healed. Mars could also be associated with the blood and the muscles as well, and sometimes it can denote like a loss of blood, and at times, it or it could be some muscle weakness that somebody may be going through or encountering at this time, or maybe there was some ailment or debilitation in connection with the muscles that person is getting at least some alleviation from at this time. And Mars can also be associated with accidents. So if there's something where there's some, it could be an issue that could be detrimental, that could be connected with an accident. It could be an important time to make sure you're taking your precautions at this time as far as short journeys go, and wearing the helmet or headgear, whatever needs to, if you're riding a motorcycle, doing what you need to do, being extra prudent and careful when driving. And it could also be something too. I mean, keep in mind, Mars is also associated with enthusiasm and motivation. And you may be at this time when you have this transit be lacking some kind of drive or motivation, because also remember that the energy and vitality level may be depleted and diminished at this time as well. And a lot of times when you don't have the physical energy, your motivation, your drive, your exuberance and enthusiasm could very likely be diminished as well. Now, let's take an example. Let's say somebody has the transit South Node conjunct their natal Mars in Scorpio in their fourth house. Now, this could manifest in maybe it could be some kind of maybe maybe obsessive, even compulsive Scorpio-like battles, which is battles or Mars could be going. You might. Well, I'm sorry, I need to say this again. You may be at this time extricating yourself from obsessive or even compulsive type of battles. Obsessive compulsive, which is Scorpio, battles, which is Mars on the home front, which of course is the fourth house. This could be in some, or it might even be battles connected with jealousy in the home that you're trying to get away from or extricate yourself from. Also, too, it could be a scar that might be removed, or maybe an injury might heal, or some irritation at this time. Another example, let's say that, I mean, you have the transit of the South Node in Aquarius conjunct your natal Mars. It could be some battles with friends that you might be getting away from, matters with independence, freedom. If your freedom had been inhibited, this could be at that time, at the time where you say, okay, I have to go. I mean, I can't take this anymore. I've been, my actions have been prohibited. I can't do what I want to do anymore, etc. So I'm going to talk about some interesting, it's not an exact example, because I'm actually going to talk about a natal placement somebody has in their chart where they have their South Node, at least a loose conjunction to their natal Mars in their chart. Now, a lot of you may have remembered, this took place on June 23rd, 1993, where Lorena Bobbitt severed John Wayne. First, I want to say, I'm sorry. I want to say that John Wayne Bobbitt has this aspect in his natal chart, at least a loose conjunction, and he has it in Scorpio. And on June 23rd, 1993, Lorena Bobbitt, his wife, severed his private part at the time. Keep in mind, the South Node could be about removal, what we're going away from. This case, by incision, you're talking about Mars, could be about cutting, incisions, and the private part, which is Scorpio. And also, it was connected with vengeance. Scorpio is vengeful energy, and I believe Lorena Bobbitt was, ironically, she's Sun in Scorpio, if I'm not mistaken. So, and also, to keep in mind, I mean, this could be about some irritation that might leave, whether it's a physical one, or it could be someone in your life that is causing some kind of turmoil or exasperation. It could be a Mars-related person maybe leaving your life, or you might be rekindling a connection with him or her. It could be somebody from the military, somebody that was in like a combat sport such as judo, karate, boxing, wrestling. It could be somebody with the military, or a surgeon, somebody that might be in law enforcement. If this is a time, if you were in trouble with law enforcement, it might be something that might come back up at this time, because Mars is associated with law enforcement. If this is somebody, I mean, this is a time where some fugitives might be captured that have this position, because you're talking about Mars, South Node can be about sometimes reconnecting with somebody from the past. And I do see this in some cases where if a fugitive has this aspect, or somebody that's tried to evade the law and has been hiding for some time, this is the time where it might catch up. Law enforcement could catch up with them, and they could be making a reappearance, so to speak. And the thing about it is, could also be in some cases a loss of blood, because remember that Mars can be associated with that. I mean, if it's, whether it's a cut to the arm, if it's in Gemini, it could be some laceration or cut to the arm. Especially if you have your natal Mars in your first house, which is the physical body, or the sixth house, which could be connected with things if you're connected with your physical health. Now, also too, I mean, like say, as I talked about before, it can indicate a loss of blood. Say this is in Capricorn. It could be something with the gallbladder. It might be some internal bleeding that may be going, especially if your Mars is actually retrograde and it's going in. At Mars, when you're about retrograde, retrograde is like inward, inner energy. And if it's in Scorpio, the loss of blood may be due to some condition, an infection, like a urinary tract infection, I should say. In Aries, it might be due to some kind of brain hemorrhage. And the thing about it is, and we have to remember too that it could be when we're talking about irritations, like for example, if this was in Capricorn, it could be about a responsibility that maybe a person didn't want, like some hard labor, something you were working laboriously at. It may not necessarily be a career-related matter, but something you were doing for somebody else. If it was in Leo, it could be a dramatic, some kind of drama that had been going on with somebody that was really exasperating you and has gone by. Now, whether this, you get through these matters, whether it's smoother or it's more exasperation, a lot of that could be dependent and predicated on other aspects that this makes 2 points in your natal chart. Say a sexta or trine to your natal Jupiter, it can go, there might be more auspicious, like say if you're trying to get out of some angry or acrimonious situation, for example. Or but if it's safe, it makes an adverse aspect to your natal Saturn. It might be done with a lot more difficulty and more laborious effort. It might be more of an arduous task trying to do some of these things that I had described in the video. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.